welcome. Very excited for this panel with Aaron Paul, star of Breaking Bad, BoJack Horseman, Need for Speed, and actually I think it's 2024, so it is the 25th anniversary of your Corn Pops commercial, which is where I would like to start.
That's where it all started, people. Okay, bring out the Corn Pops.
There we go. Another tasting.
Yeah.
No, but so you grew up in, let's just start where it starts. You grew up in Idaho.
I grew up in Idaho.
Hi,
everybody, by the way. Good to see you.
What's a car culture like there?
It's good. You know, my uncle, I remember one of my core memories growing up in Idaho, I would play in my uncle's 67 Mustang. I loved this car so much. It didn't seem real to me. You know, it seemed like sort of like a fantasy to me. Honestly, the cars still kind of seem like a fantasy to me a little bit. I mean, being here, I come here every single year. I will never miss it. But I used to play in the back of his car and play with my Hot Wheels. And one year, he got me this small model 65 Shelby. The classic blue with the white racing stripe. And then that just instantly became my favorite
was the white
car.
whale?
That was like my pinnacle. One day I will get that car. Yeah.
And then one day you did, but we will get to that later.
Yes.
What was your first car?
My first car was a, believe it or not, 1982 Toyota Corolla. Thank you very much. My parents bought me the car. I came from no money, but my parents gifted me this car just before I moved out to L.A. I graduated high school a year early, and I moved out to L.A. when I was 17 years old. But this car was a piece of shit. Let's be honest. It was literally, you would go from first gear, the second gear would grind. I'd have to skip the second gear to go to third gear. Anytime it rained, the trunk would fill up with water. You all have been there, but
maybe not for a while, but maybe you've been there.
But I love that car because it got me from point A to point B, and I love that car. But
do I have this right? Is that the car you drove out to LA?
Yeah, I drove out to LA. Literally, I landed in LA, and I was unpacking my car. My mom came out with me, moving into this small little studio apartment in North Hollywood, and literally that was the day the big Bank of America shootout was happening. I don't know if you guys know that story, but literally a block from my apartment, you could hear the machine gun fire, and my mom was like, oh my God, my 17-year-old boy is moving here.
Well, see you later.
Yeah, she's like, I'm out. Good luck. Yeah.
Amazing. I wonder about how long have you been coming to Monterey?
This is my fourth straight year in a row. I've been wanting to come here for many, many, many moons. I actually come out here every year with Mercedes. So okay. I'm a Mercedes ambassador, and but yeah, it's just the best. A week I'll never miss.
So, as we've seen here, when you showed up, a lot of people come and they see you, and they're very excited to see you at Monterey Car Week.
Yeah.
Want to get a picture. I saw you FaceTiming with somebody. But who are you excited to see when you get into this realm of just the biggest names in the automotive universe?
I mean, honestly, I love them and I respect them, but I just want to see the cars.
Yeah?
Yeah, no offense to maybe some of you are here. Well done, bravo, you're awesome. I respect you, but I want to see their work.
So it's all about the sheet metal for you.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I am a gearhead. I always have been. I wish I knew how to really, build a car. I mean, I know how to, change my oil and, change a flat, but that's it.
Sure.
But yeah.
Did you do any sort of performance driving training for any roles, Need for Speed?
Yeah, Need for Speed. It was very important to the director and honestly the studio that whoever was playing Toby Marshall, the lead of this film, had to really know how to drive because they want to capture everything in camera and not do a bunch of green screen or do it in post. The director's a third-generation stuntman, and so I started training in Willow Springs, just outside of LA.
That's an amazing track.
Yeah, amazing.
Terrifying, actually.
Yeah,
Big
but
Willow
it was epic. Really the first 3 days was trying to learn how to get out of problematic situations. Creating a slick track for me. Doing reverse 180s, 360s, just drifting. It was cool. Busted
great.
a bunch of tires, and then they just put on new ones and say, "Let's go again."
It's amazing. You always do that in somebody else's car. That's why.
Yeah, but I'm very proud to say I was the top of the leaderboard in Top Gear the entire series, and then the final season.
that's right.
The final season, a young 19-year-old kid beat me by like a nanosecond. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, but so you know what it's like
But
to
I love
hold a
racing.
record.
I'm being serious. I really love to race.
Yeah,
I
do
love
you
driving. I
still
love
do
cars.
more any of that performance stuff? Do you take classes?
A little bit, honestly. I think I'll probably be going to Willow Springs my whole life. I got 2 kiddos now. I want to teach them, you know, how to get out of problematic situations with them, and it's great. If you're ever outside of LA, it's just like a beautiful 3-day course, and you can extend it, of course, but yeah, it's amazing.
Fantastic. Now, I know a lot of people get, you're talking about growing up in the back of the Mustang, playing with your cars. Like, car enthusiasm is something that is often passed down generationally, right?
Yeah.
You have a son and a daughter, is that right?
I do, yeah.
Do either one of them exhibit the bug early?
Oh, of course. Yeah, the thing is, my daughter, her name's Story, light of my life. She's 6.5, but she always plays in the Shelby, always. Just like... and that's that's kind of like our almost. She's getting tall enough. It'll be we do like a daddy-daughter date night. So that'll be our date night car.
I mean, that's funny because like the Shelby Cobra is the automotive equivalent of a bar fight. So it's fun. It's like funny to think of like a small kid in that car.
Yeah, that's why I'm waiting until she's like 7.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's good parenting.
She's only
that's
6 right now.
Yeah. I mean, that would be ridiculous.
Yeah, that'd be insane.
So you have a bunch of stories with that car. I mean, was that one of your early dates with your wife? Was picking that up?
Yeah,
in
actually,
Vegas?
it was my very first date with my wife. I met my wife at Coachella, as one does. We had our first kiss on the Ferris wheel at Coachella. I met her at Coachella, and then I quickly found out she had a boyfriend, so obviously she was off limits. Cut to the following year. She was single, I was single, and that was it. And we had our first kiss on the Ferris wheel, and ever since that kiss, I called her my wife as like a fun, sort of pet name. It went from wife to fiance, back to wife again. Anyways, back to Coachella. I had to go back to work in New Mexico. She went back to LA, and we would just talk for hours a night on the phone. And I had already purchased this car in Vegas, and I needed to find a time to go pick it up. I had a long weekend, and I asked if she wanted to meet me in Vegas. Would love to fly you out, get you a separate hotel room, keep it innocent, have a dinner and a show, and then
like a gentleman.
I did, and it was perfect. We took $200, won $16K on the blackjack table, and we actually went to the Little White Chapel to get married that night. But it was closed, so we didn't get married. But in truth, we did go and to try. Then cut to the next day, picked up the Shelby and drove it back.
Was there any ever concern that like I don't know if your wife's into cars, but you're going to show up and she'd just be like gross, like
I was
why are you
not
into
concerned.
this?
This car was very gorgeous. I was just hoping when it didn't break down on the freeway.
Yeah.
I'm just I love and appreciate the newer cars, but my heart's in the classics, and so
yeah. Tell me about it. Like when you come to Monterey, what are you
I just
searching out?
I love the old classics, all of like the Goldwing Mercedes, or just like any of the old Mercedes right now. The booth is just out of control. All the Ferraris at Casa Ferrari. It's just so next level.
What is it about? What's your favorite aspect of the driving experience?
I mean, I don't know.
Some people like the escape, some people like the sound, some people like the performance. I
just
love getting
it.
in for 2 hours. I won't even turn the radio on. I realize, like, if anybody was looking at me, it's like what a serial killer would do. Right. You're just like staring straight ahead driving, but it's like the only time I can like totally be in my thoughts.
Yeah, I guess I never really, I actually have a 69 Torino as well, and I only listen to Zeppelin inside of the Torino. It's like the soundtrack.
Period correct.
Yeah, the soundtrack of the car. But in the Shelby, there's no radio. There's, it's, I don't know.
But there's still a soundtrack.
There's definitely still very much a soundtrack. It's honestly therapeutic. I do Sunset Drives by myself all the time. I don't know. I love it. There's like a romance element to it. These old classics are just timeless. They just make me feel good.
Have you had any experience with EVs?
Yeah, I drive around a EQS, which
okay.
I fucking love.
So if you're somebody who's really like rooted into the classics, you love the old version of what a car is.
Yeah.
Like, what about the new version?
I'm not opposed to EV. I think it's great, but I like to have the best of both worlds. You know what I mean?
Right tool for the right job.
Yeah, exactly right. This is a great day-to-day, but anyone that likes classics, you must love the struggle of taking them to the shop all the time, right? I mean, it's just they're constantly in the shop, which you just have to wrap your arms around and accept it.
Yeah.
But
and
I don't
find a
mind
really
it.
good mechanic.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
So switching gears a little bit, I think it's interesting talking about Breaking Bad for a second because there have often been shows, movies where cars play like a central character, whether it's Kit, whether it's a Ferrari from Magnum PI, or anything in Miami Vice. But they're always high-end cars.
Right.
Breaking Bad was like the first TV show that I can think of that it had this insane cast of automotive characters, but they were all just kind of like shitboxes for the most part, right?
Are you saying the Pontiac Aztek is a shitbox?
But it's become iconic with that show. I mean, the Tercel, the RV, like so many of these cars. So I think it's testament to like Vince Gilligan's genius, all of that. But did you see that? Let's call it automotive casting, for lack of a better term. Were you kind of aware of the power of that while it was happening?
Oh, for sure, 100%. The thing is, we all were obsessed with these cars. We knew that they were all picked very specifically. Vince Gilligan, our fearless leader, showrunner, he takes so much time making a decision on every little detail. Like there's a famous story where he literally had a 3-hour conversation with the producers and the makeup team about the shade of red on Skylar's toenail polish when she steps her feet on like this heated bathroom floor. But a 3-hour discussion on the actual color of red. He knew it had to be red, but he's very specific.
So like that Tercel you were driving from season 2,
I wanted.
Is it true you tried to buy that?
What's that?
Is it true you tried to buy that when the show
I did.
wrapped?
Yeah, they wouldn't let me.
Where do you know? Is it like in a museum or something? Where is it?
I don't know if it was at Sony for a minute, but then it ended up I saw it on some auction like years later. I'm like, I would have bought it from you.
Right. Why all the rigmarole?
Yeah.
I mean, we're amongst friends, so like, what's the best thing you stole from that show?
I stole so much shit from that show. Because if you ask, they say no.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
no,
just don't ask.
I'm kidding. Actually, Vince Gilligan, he knew my favorite prop was the pink teddy bear. I don't know if you guys watched the show, but
anybody watch Breaking Bad?
Thank you. There's
a couple fans.
There's a pink teddy bear that you find out fell from a plane crash, and you keep seeing this pink teddy bear throughout the entirety of the second season, and they made 4 of them, but they only used 1 for production, and it was at Vince's house, and he knew it was my favorite prop, favorite thing from the show. Anyway, so when we wrapped, he gifted it to me, so that's cool. I got the back of the Los Pollos Hermanos semi-truck doors. They're hanging up in my garage, and they were shot out with the machine gun.
That's pretty cool.
What else? I mean, I got a Heisenberg hat. Not honestly, not much, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's switch gears a little bit. So you are moving in some interesting directions. Obviously, Dos Hombres Mezcal. You are Hombre Uno. Hombre Dos is
Bryan Cranston.
Also from Breaking Bad. That's you have a few years under your belt with that now.
Yeah, we've been working on it for about 8 years. It was all self-funded, so it wasn't a company that came to us asking us if we wanted to make a quick buck. In truth, we've only hemorrhaged money into the company.
Like all good passion projects.
Exactly. But we just celebrated our 5th year on the market. But yeah, currently we're the number 4 mezcal out there. Very proud of that fact. We have a beautiful give back initiative for the people of Oaxaca. Brian and I have hired every one of our employees personally. It's truly a labor of love.
Wow.
But yeah.
So, like one of the things I always think about with the entertainment industry, as an actor, even an actor and a producer, it's like there's so much that you just can't control. You have to let other people kind of do their thing. Now, entrepreneurship, very different, right? I mean, like you said, you built this from the ground up.
It's your baby. It's your decision. Yeah, it's up to you.
So now you have all the control. Now, was that daunting? Was that something you enjoyed about it?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, we went in just knowing each other's characters so well, so we just dove into the deep end. We obviously had never dove into the alcohol space at all. We needed to learn how to build a company. We had to go down to Oaxaca to search for an undiscovered mezcalero, you know, and bring it out to the world. But yeah, I mean, I think that it was probably just being naive, you know. We just were excited to.
It's a great superpower sometimes.
Yeah,
right?
You're right. I mean, I think Brian always says, you know, if him and I played golf, we would have never started a company. We needed kind of like a reason to see each other, right? And so now, you know, we talk every single day. He's truly my best friend in the world. My son's godfather.
That's amazing.
Good guy.
Why mezcal? Like what something
honestly,
you both enjoyed?
Mezcal is my favorite spirit. It's been my favorite spirit for close to 20 years now. I come from the bourbon, whiskey, Scotch background. I love a good peaty Scotch. And so when I was introduced to mezcal about 18 years ago, I couldn't place the spirit in this cocktail I was drinking. And my buddy said, oh, it's mezcal. I had heard of mezcal, but I'd never tried it. And when Brian and I were catching up one night in New York, we were having dinner at a sushi bar, and he asked me, he's like, do you think this is too early to, you know, do another project together? And this was only 3 years post the finale of Breaking Bad. And I go, I think it's a little too soon. You know, maybe we could produce something, maybe produce a play, limit or whatever. And then I interrupted him. I said, oh, actually, you know, what do you think about the booze business? And he sort of laughed at me. And I go, I'm being serious, man. What do you think about mezcal? And he thought I was like continuing on with my bit. He goes, oh, the shitty spirit with the dead worm at the bottom of it. I'm like, no, man, they don't do that anymore. That was a gimmick back in the day. He just had a terrible experience with mezcal in high school, and he just never tried it again. And then I sort of just reintroduced him to the world of mezcal and sort of educated him on the growth of mezcal and how, like mezcal, ours is artisanal, so it's meaning like it's made the exact same way it was made 300 years ago, all by hand, very labor intensive. There's 2 ingredients in our juice, which is mountain spring water and smoked agave. That is it. It's illegal to have any sort of additives. With tequila, however, which is made from the blue agave, and then actually tequila used to be a mezcal, but they changed the name of that particular mezcal about 90 years ago to tequila because they started mass producing it, started steaming it versus smoking it. And the blue agave is easily the largest agave of all of the agaves. There's like 35 different agave plants. And the government got involved and said, you can't call yourself a mezcal anymore. We got to, you know, change it up. It has
This
to be
was
its
for
own
commercial
thing.
purposes. They were like, we can make a ton of this quickly.
Exactly right. And so the biggest city at the time in that region of Jalisco was a city by the name of Tequila. So they changed the name of that particular mezcal to tequila. You learn something new every day.
Yeah, exactly. Back to cars. No.
Yeah.
Well, then, but you've gone, and actually, we're going to do a tasting.
Oh yeah, do you guys want some Dos Hombres?
So everybody mezcal.
It's very good.
Yeah. But you've continued on at least in the sort of food and drink space with the only Caviar.
Yeah.
How did you get to Caviar?
So actually, I'm very proud to say it was birthed here last year at Casa Ferrari. I was invited to this private Nobu tasting at Casa Ferrari, and I met this brilliant, beautiful human being by the name of Diego. He's here. Diego, where are you at? Diego. Diego is an incredible human being, world-class chef, multiple Michelin stars under his belt, but just really knows the world, knows food, knows caviar. And he also runs the food and beverage program for all of Vista Jets. And so I'm always pushing Dos Hombres. And so I talked him into bringing Dos Hombres Mezcal and all of the Vista Jets around the world. And then he presented me with hands down the greatest caviar I've ever had in my life. And cut to him and I just became close friends. And he just loved our Give Back initiative for the people of Oaxaca and just sort of how I built this company. And he appreciated that it was all self-funded from Brian and I. And, you know, he saw my work ethic. And he also always had a dream of starting his own caviar company. And so he hit me up one day and he said he wanted to have a phone call with me. And he pitched me the idea. He said, would you be interested in starting another company? And I said, well, what sort of company? And he said, well, what do you think about bringing that caviar out into the world? And I go, wait, that beautiful caviar from Italy? And I'm like, I'm in, let's do it. So here we are.
And so it seems like giving back is, I mean, pretty important to what you've launched. You have the Oaxaca initiative. You're doing a lot with ocean conservation, freshwater conservation. Speak about why building a company today, that just seems like a component for a certain thoughtful type of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, well, look, it's not, I always say it's not the right way to run a business. It's the only way to run a business. There's no reason that the people at top should hold all the chips. What's that all about? It's ridiculous. And so we're just now launching. We're already we're promising right now, and we're going to work it up. But 3% of all profit will go back to cleaning up our waters, oceans, rivers, and lakes. We've teamed up. We teamed up with this nonprofit, Four Oceans, that have been. I mean, they've pulled millions and millions and millions of pounds out of these waters, and it's just the right thing to do.
How much caviar did you have to eat, for testing purposes?
I'm still consuming that testing purpose of caviar, and you're about to try some caviar as well.
Yeah, can we bring out, we have some...
I learned that 85% of caviar in the States, 85 to 90% of caviar is all coming from very inhumane Chinese farms. Okay, and these Chinese farms, these sturgeons are packed on top of each other. They really, honestly, to put it bluntly, they don't care about these living beings, these creatures. And so, they're eating their own shit. They're biting each other. It's just aggressive waters. Obviously, the product is going to be affected because of that. And so this particular caviar farm was finished in 1969. It was built directly on a river about an hour and a half outside of Milan. That's just downstream from this beautiful waterfall. So these sturgeons have lots of room to roam. They're not packed on top of each other, and they're getting fresh water constantly. And you literally drink the water. That's how clean it is. And so we're very proud to bring a beautiful Italian product out into the world. My partner Diego is Italian, proud Italian man, but we're stoked about it. But our first account, we convinced the Wynn in Vegas to replace their caviar with ours. So that was a big domino to fall, and now we're just turning on all of our favorite accounts.
What's your hope for it?
We're definitely we hope to be the #1 luxury caviar brand out there. So, I truly believe that we're going to get there. You'll taste the product; it's a beautiful product.
Yeah.
So.
Do we have taste it going around? Awesome.
Yeah, it's working its way around. Do you guys know what a caviar bump is?
Wait, can we demonstrate?
There you go, my girl. You know what it is.
Can we demonstrate?
Every chef in the world, this is how they eat it. You just put it right here, and you eat it with your mouth.
Can we get Aaron Paul some caviar?
Yeah,
so
can I get
demonstrate?
a caviar bump, please? I'll show you how to do it.
There we go. Learning from the master. Oh, here we are.
Look at this. Thank you. So this is what you do. You just go make sure it's a big bump, and you do that, and you go like this. And
I'd like it. Can I get one of those?
Oh, my God. I can't wait for you to try it. It is so good. Yeah, you're doing it right. All right. Is this your first try? It's amazing.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah.
Which one is that specifically?
That's the Osetra.
Yeah. Osetra is my favorite.
Yeah.
Another round of applause, please, for Mr. Aaron Paul.
And another round of applause. That was a beautiful conversation. Thanks for having me. Thanks for listening, everybody. I appreciate it. Thank you.